So with that in mind, we started researching websites and portals where our primary demographic does frequent. And the same thing for magazines, any type of place we could get information published. Denise had a very unique story to her about how she achieved this success at a time when most other people have long given up their childhood dreams. And we knew that would be a key towards getting us publicity. So we wrote the story. We sent that story out to magazines and newspapers when the album came out. So we were able to get articles in a lot of the area newspapers around here. And we've held off, quite honestly, on some of the national media for a reason. I have all the contacts. I know who to get a hold of, but we have some other irons in the fire right now. We don't want to blow that one opportunity we get too early. Because again, earned media, you only get the story printed once in most cases. I'm trying to think of some of the other things. It was kind of a funny thing, but Denise thought this one up herself. One of the songs on the album is it's a remake of the old hit from the early '60s called Johnny Angel, and this is pure guerrilla marketing here. She's on Facebook a lot, and she thought, gee, everybody has these funny names or handles on Facebook. She said, I'll bet there are a lot of Johnny Angels on Facebook. So she looked them up, and sure enough, she found a ton of them. So she started sending them emails saying, hey, I've got a song all about you. And when she got done with that, she said, gee, I wonder how many Lolas are out there, because one of the songs is Whatever Lola Wants. And she hit the jackpot with that one. And if you look on her list of friends, you'll probably see she's got 500 to 1,000 Lolas as friends of hers now. And it was a great way, again, a number of these people would at least download that particular song. So you have to find ways to, if you don't have the budget, you have to find ways to get yourself out in front of the public, either on the internet or in person, that you wouldn't be able to do otherwise. We had a concert recently, and we were having a great deal of difficulty, and this, by the way, is why I consider radio so important, because while the vast majority of our younger generation today is probably streaming most of their music either on their iPhones or their computers at home, again, our demographic, they still listen to the radio stations. So here in Chicago, we have no radio station that is playing our format of music, believe it or not. But yet we had a concert in August, and we had to fill the theater. That's the only way we were going to be able to make money. And we got in touch with a radio station 140 miles north of Chicago, where they're playing our album, round the clock almost. They just love it up there. So she was getting very heavy exposure up there. So we got in touch with the radio station, we got in touch with the tour bus company, and got everybody working together, and the day of the concert we had a full tour bus come down from, almost 3 hours away in Wisconsin, and helped fill the theater that way. It's just another way to get out in front of people. But radio has been wonderful because radio is free exposure and it's repeat exposure. An article in the newspaper, if they don't see it the day it comes out, they'll probably never see it. But if you miss hearing Almost Like Being in Love today, there's a good chance you might hear it in the radio tomorrow or the day after. So to us, radio is still a very critical way of getting our music in front of the people that we need to get it in front of. For a few years that I had kind of dropped out of business, I had an opportunity to follow a passion of mine, which was involved in doing some political work for an organization that's a national organization. They were working on school reform issues, and the year or so that I spent with them probably was very well earned, in a sense that I became their executive director nationally, and it turned out to be a year that we were one of 5 organizations that had a case that went before the U.S. Supreme Court. So I learned in a hurry about dealing with the media, good things and bad things, and I attended a lot of seminars how to work with them. And well, we joke about it a little bit. We say one thing when you're dealing with the media, especially television people, try never to use words with more than 3 syllables in them. Generally, when you're dealing with the newspapers, a trick to writing a press release is you pretty much write it so they don't have to do anything with it other than put their byline on it. And there are different formats for press releases. The best advice I could give anyone there is just do some search on the web to look at some sample press releases and follow those. The key, once again, though, is in knowing the people at the newspapers and the magazines. So again, if you were to look in the computer here, you would see we have huge databases, not only in our own market here in Chicago, but now because we're becoming a national act, we've researched newspapers and magazines all across the country. And Denise just got invited to do a concert in New York City sometime next year. Well, I've already got that database, so we will be starting to call the newspapers. In fact, I just spoke with one reporter on Long Island the other day about this. So we start reaching out to them early, telling them what will be coming along, when it will be coming, and then you just basically stay in touch with them. And then the day that you send out the releases, and you got to send them out early enough that they'll take a chance to read them, then you start badgering the heck out of them to make sure they did read it and that they're going to get it in the paper.